Hey guys, here's part 3 of the 5.2 notes. We're going to continue to graph simple rational functions. Now, basically, we are kind of changing up. Our new way is the y equals ax plus b over cx plus d. So you can see a rational function looking similar to there. Okay, so basically, how do we figure out the horizontal asymptote? Well, that's going to be y equals whatever the a value over the c, okay? So that'll give you the horizontal. Your vertical is going to be the exact same as we did it the last time. Basically, you just set your denominator equal to 0, and we solve. So whatever that cx plus d equals, that's going to be your vertical asymptote. So remember, it's going to be that x. And then domain and range, that's going to be the same thing as we've done before. So domain is going to deal with your vertical asymptote. So we go from negative infinity to the vertical asymptote. Don't forget the u. And then vertical asymptote to infinity. And then range is going to go from negative infinity to the horizontal asymptote, horizontal asymptote to infinity. So that didn't change. So really your vertical asymptote, your domain and range, how you do all that's going to stay the same. The only thing that changes is how we figure out the horizontal asymptote. Okay, let's go ahead and apply this to our next problem. So we're going to graph 2x plus 1 over x minus 3. So the first thing you always do is determine your vertical and horizontal asymptotes. So your vertical, remember, we set the denominator equal to 0. Our denominator is x minus 3. So again, x equals 3. So that means I'm going to be right here. And I'll kind of extend that a little bit later on. Okay, now our horizontal, that's going to be basically our a over c. So our a value is 2. And then our c value is going to be 1. So basically your a and c are numbers that are in front of the x's. So here, really, we have y equals 2. I go ahead and graph that. Okay, so now doing the xy table, it is going to be exactly the same way as we did it with the last two examples. We place in the middle our vertical asymptote, which in this case is 3. We know we need to do the dash because there's not going to be any y values associated with it. Now we pick two x values that are larger and two x values that are smaller than that middle. So smaller would be like 2 and 1, larger would be 4 and 5. And then just like last time, we plug them into basically our function to get the y's. So once again, you might want to use a calculator here to help yourself out. Okay, plugging in 2, and now notice we have to actually plug 2 into two places because we do have two x's. So we will have 2 times 2 plus 1. So that's 4 plus 1, which gives us 5. And then 2 minus 3, that gives us negative 1. So we have 5 over negative 1. That gives us negative 5. Okay, now I plug 1 into there. So I have 2 plus 1, that's 3. 3 over, we do 1 minus 3, that's negative 2. So basically negative 3/2, or we can also write it as a decimal, negative 1.5. Now we do that with our 4. So I get 8 plus 1 is 9, and then 4 minus 3 there. So that'll give us 1. So we get 9, because I have 1. And then plugging 5 into there, we get 10 plus 1, that's 11. 11 over 2. And that gives us 5.5. So I have to plug 5, do 5 minus 3 to give me that. Okay, so now I go ahead and plot these points. So I go over 2, we're going to go over 1, and then down 1.5, and then 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go ahead and extend my vertical asymptote, so I was not able to do that beforehand. There we go. So we know that our graph doesn't cross or touch. There we go. Okay. So remember, you should have a curve for your branch, and remember the graph should never cross or touch your asymptotes. Okay, our next ones, which is going to be kind of high, so I'm going to move this up a little bit. We have 4, 9, so I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. I go all the way up to 9, and then 5 will be 5.5. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang. And connect. And there we go. Okay, now our last thing is we got to figure out domain and range. Remember, domain deals with our vertical asymptote. At this point, our vertical asymptote is at 3. So I have negative infinity to 3, u, and then 3 to infinity. And also notice that I'm using parentheses even around the 3, because remember that asymptote is not included, so that's why we have to use parentheses. Okay, range goes off of the horizontal asymptote, which was at 2. So we have negative infinity to 2, don't forget the u, and 2 to infinity. Okay. Okay, let's go and try another one like this. I would like you guys to go and pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, let's see how you did. Okay, first we do figure out a vertical and horizontal. I do x minus 2 equals 0 because I set my denominator equal to 0 for the vertical asymptote. So I have x equals 2. And I will continue that later. Then our horizontal asymptote, that's going to be taking our a over c. So our a value is 1, our c is 1, so really we get y equals 1. Don't forget your a and c are the numbers in front of the x's. Okay. Now, our next thing is to do our xy table. Remember, we place the vertical asymptote, just 2, in the middle. And that does not have a point. Now we pick 2 points that are smaller, so like 1 and 0, and then 2 points that are bigger. So that's going to be like 3 and 4. And then we plug it into our function. And this is where you might want to use a calculator if you can. Okay, plugging 0 in both x's, we have 4 divided by negative 2. That gives us negative 2. Plugging in 1, we get 5 over negative 1. That gives us negative 5. Plugging 3 in, I get 7 over 1. And then plugging 4, I get 8 over 2. So that gives me 4. So now I plot the points. So I have 0, negative 2. And then 1, negative 5. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and extend my vertical asymptote so I make sure I do this correctly. So my graph should cross it. Okay, remember, basically your branches are bounded by both the horizontal and vertical asymptotes. So there's that part. And then now we do 3, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 4, 4. And here we go. There we go. It should be curved. Boom, boom. And then our last thing that we do need to do is do the domain and range. Domain is going to be from negative infinity to 2. And 2 to infinity. And then horizontal asymptote deals with the range. So that's going to be from negative infinity to 1. And 1 to infinity. There you go. Okay, make sure you watch the last part. We're going to be doing a word problem.